Hello everybody, it's Lazel here with another Magic the Gathering EDH deck tech. Today we are featuring probably my most favorite Mardu commander. I'm talking about Kelsien the Plague. For 3 mana you get a 2/2 human assassin with Vigilance Haste, and Kelsien the Plague gets +1/+1 for each experience counter you have. You as a player get the experience counter. And her activated ability says tap. Kelsien deals 1 damage to target creature you don't control. When that creature dies this turn, you get an experience counter. We are going to win by killing a lot of our opponent's creatures and with that also pumping up Kelsien to swing for the win. We want to equip Kelsien with cards like Vorpal Sword. For 1 black you get an artifact equipment that says equipped creature gets +2/+0 and has Death Touch. Death Touch is the keyword in this deck. And for 8 mana you get until end of turn Vorpal Sword gains. Whenever equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, that player loses the game. Gift of Doom is a great enchantment in this one. 5 mana enchantment aura. Enchant creature. Enchanted creature has Death Touch and Indestructible. The Basilisk Caller. For 1 mana you get an artifact equipment. Equipped creature has Death Touch and Lifelink. Rune of Mortality is great because you can also enchant another permanent like an equipment that doesn't have Death Touch. For 2 mana you get when Rune of Mortality enters the battlefield, draw a card. As long as enchanted permanent is a creature, it has Death Touch. As long as enchanted permanent is an equipment, it has equipped creature as Death Touch. Gorgon Flail is great in this deck. For 2 mana you get equipped creature gets +1/+1 and has Death Touch. Last but not least, Quatus Spike. For 3 mana you get an artifact equipment that says equipped creature has Death Touch, and whenever equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, that player loses half their life total rounded up. Another really cool combo in my opinion to give Kelsien the Plague Death Touch is with Retreat to Hagra and Sword of the Animist. When Sword of the Animist is equipped to Kelsien, you go for your normal swing and then you trigger the Sword of the Animist. You fetch for your basic land card, which triggers the landfall mechanic of Retreat to Hagra, which gives Kelsien the Plague +1/+0 and Death Touch until end of turn. After Kelsien has gained this ability until end of turn, you just tap her to ping something down. But first of all, we need to find all of those equipments, so let's play Open the Armory. 2 mana sorcery, search a library for an aura or equipment card, reveal it and put it into your hand. Stoneforge Mystic, also great in this one, a 2 mana core artificer. When Stoneforge Mystic enters the battlefield, you may search a library for an equipment card, reveal it, put it into your hand. And for 2 mana tap it, you may put an equipment card from your hand onto the battlefield. Stonehewer Giant, 5 mana 4/4 Vigilance, and for 2 mana tap it, search a library for an equipment card and put it onto the battlefield. Attach it to a creature you control. With all of those equipment ETBs we are playing Pure Steel Paladin, 2 mana 2/2. Whenever an equipment enters the battlefield under your control you may draw a card, and also Metalcraft. Equipment you control have 0 as long as you control 3 or more artifacts. The on-attack trigger for an Armored Skyhunter is great. 4 mana 3/3 flying. Whenever Armored Skyhunter attacks, look at the top 6 cards of your library. You may put an aura or equipment card from among them onto the battlefield. If an equipment is put onto the battlefield this way, you may attach it to a creature you control. Put the rest on the bottom of your library, in a random order. And of course, Enlightened Tutor. 1 mana instant. Search a library for an artifact or enchantment card and reveal that card. Shuffle your library, then put that card on top of it. The great thing about Kelsien's activated ability is that it stacks, so if you can ping a creature twice during a game, if Kelsien for example doesn't have Death Touch, you can get multiple experience counters with that ability if that creature dies this turn. So let's untap Kelsien several times in a turn to go for several activations of that ability. For example, with 1000 Year Elixir, 3 mana, you may activate abilities of creatures you control as though those creatures had haste, and for 1 mana tap it, untap target creature. Sting, the Glinting Dagger, 2 mana, equipped creature gets +1/+1 and has haste. At the beginning of each combat, untap equipped creature. Equipped creature has first strike as long as it's blocking or blocked by a goblin or orc. Mage Rite Stone, 2 mana, and for 1 tap it, untap target creature that has an activated ability with tap in its cost. And another great static effect on the field is Laezel, Blackcliff's Champion. Legendary creature Gith Warrior, for 3 mana 3/3. If you would put 1 or more counters on a creature or planeswalker you control or on yourself, put that many +1 of each of those counters on that permanent or player instead. Your opponents will definitely target Kelsien, so aside from playing Swiftfoot Boots and some other protection, you definitely need some other win cons. Let's look at Assault Intercessor, 3 mana 3/2, First Strike Menace. Whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, that player loses 2 life. Mary the Killing Quill, 3 mana 3/2. Whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, exile it with a hit counter on it. Assassins, mercenaries and rogues you control have Death Touch, and whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, you may remove a hit counter from a card that player owns in exile. If you do, draw a card, then create 2 treasure tokens. Very powerful due to the fact that Kelsien is an assassin. Daxos the Returned, 3 mana 2/2. Whenever you cast an enchantment spell, you get an experience counter. For 3 mana, put a white and black spirit enchantment creature token onto the battlefield. It has this creature's power and toughness are equal to the number of experience counters you have. Torwalkie the Younger is also great in this deck. 5 mana 3/3 reach lifelink. If another source you control will deal non-combat damage to a permanent or player, it deals that much damage +1 to that permanent or player instead. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, Torwalkie the Younger deals 2 damage to any target. Let's go for a little bit more protection here. General's Enforcer, 2 mana 2/3. Legendary humans you control have indestructible. And for 4 mana, exile target card from a graveyard. If it was a creature card, create a 1/1 white human soldier creature token. Last but not least, Norn's Core Master, 5 mana 5/4 flying first strike. Whenever a commander you control enters the battlefield or attacks, proliferate. This is really powerful because you can proliferate those experience counters. You want to win more? You get it. Your alternative win con is Ofari, Sun's Glory, 5 mana 3/3 flying lifelink haste. Whenever Ofari Sun's Glory attacks, you get an experience counter. Then create a 2/2 red rebel creature token that's tapped and attacking for each experience counter you have. This triggered ability stacks up massively. And for 4 mana, tap an untapped rebel you control. Return Ofari from your graveyard to the battlefield. And last but not least, because we are in Marduk colors, we play Ruinous Ultimatum. For 7 mana, you play a sorcery that says destroy all non-land permanents your opponents control. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed these deck ideas for Kelsien the Plague. If you want to add some cards, let us know down in the comments below, and then I would say see you in the next video. Goodbye.